Out and About TV. Travel, adventure, and RVs. Join Sharon and Tom each week as they travel America in a 30-foot trailer exploring and living the RV lifestyle. From trip and product reviews to RV show reports and an unfiltered look at life on the road. This is the show for you. Welcome.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming by on behalf of Sharon and myself. We really appreciate it. And thanks for joining us. First, a very big congratulations going out to Mr. Mark Lennord from Canton, Michigan. He's the owner of a Brinkley rig, and he walked away with a handy dandy ball cap, Adventure Before Dementia ball cap. And look for him at a campground there in southeastern Michigan, or maybe at a Tiger game this summer. We're going to give away a t-shirt or a ball cap again in June. And if you would like to enter, all you got to do is send us an email, outandabout.rvinfo@gmail.com. Out and about, all spelled out. We've got another great show lined up for you, and we're going to first talk a little bit about RV dealers. Now, before you start writing, we know that the vast majority of RV dealers are good, hardworking folks that just want to help people get a good deal and stand by them after the sale and like that. For your edification, dealers are currently holding, it's estimated, about $6 billion in inventory. There are currently 2,981 dealers in the United States. And last year, about 342,000 RVs were sold in 2025. And they don't differentiate between, it's all trailers, motor coaches, everything all in one. We're not going to focus, like I say, we're not going to focus on the vast majority of good dealers because we know that they're out there and our hats are off to them every day. We're going to focus on the stinkers. Then we're going to head down to the beautiful Emerald Coast from Pensacola to Panama City in Northwest Florida for this week's trip report. White sand, fresh seafood, beautiful beaches, and some of the most relaxing camping on the Gulf of Mexico. Then later, our emergency RV gear roundup with the essential tools and safety equipment that every RVer needs this summer, and you should be carrying it with you before you hit the road. And finally, this week's YouTube RV channel spotlight featuring the RV Odd Couple. So stay with us. Sharon and I are very, very glad you're here. You're watching Out and About TV. And away we go.
At Out and About TV, we've done the legwork for you, watching, analysing and curating the top RV YouTube channels that cover everything from trailers and fifth wheels to vans and mobile homes. These RV YouTubers have turned their passion into full-time careers, influencing the RV community and even shaping industry trends. Channels that entertain, educate and inspire with hosts that have the heart of a teacher. Stop by and we will examine what these channels are covering. And it is more than just entertainment. Just consider Out and About your personal digital campfire. For all things RV.
It's time for this week's YouTube RV channel spotlight. You know, recently Tom and Sharon counted, and there are now more than 500 RV-related YouTube channels. That's amazing, and we will continue to cover them all right here at Out and About TV. This week, we're featuring the folks over at the show, the RV Odd Couple. The channel is hosted by John and Mercedes, a husband and wife team who sold their home, hit the road full-time, and built one of the more recognizable personalities in the RV YouTube community. Along with their family, they document the realities of RV living, campground life, travel challenges, beginner mistakes, RV gear, and the ups and downs that come with trying to live a mobile lifestyle full-time. Now, one of the reasons their channel has attracted such a loyal following is because they aren't afraid to speak their minds. Their style is direct, opinionated, sometimes controversial, and often very funny. Some people absolutely love them. Others strongly disagree with them. But one thing's for certain, they've built a passionate audience. As of this month, the RV Odd Couple channel has grown to roughly 190,000 subscribers with tens of millions of views, making them one of the larger independently run RV lifestyle channels on YouTube. Their content covers everything from RV buying advice and campground memberships to boondocking, travel tips, internet solutions, and the financial realities of living on the road. They also spend a lot of time helping newer RV campers avoid some of the expensive mistakes they themselves experienced when first entering the lifestyle. And honestly, folks, that authenticity is probably the secret sauce. They don't pretend RV life is perfect. They talk openly about stress, breakdowns, financial pressures, campground politics, RV quality problems, and the emotional realities of living in a small space while traveling full-time. And in today's YouTube world, audiences appreciate honesty. So if you enjoy RV lifestyle content with strong personalities, practical advice, humor, and a little controversy mixed in, you will want to check out the RV Odd Couple. And remember, one of the best things about the RV community is there's room for all kinds of voices, travel styles, and personalities out there on the road. For Out and About TV, I'm digital correspondent Hope. Thanks for watching.
Hey, every week tune in. We're going to keep cataloging the best in RV channels on YouTube and tell you what they're all about and save you a little bit of time there. Thanks a lot for tuning in. In this week's feature, let's talk about dirty dealers. Is it an engineered system of collusion? This time, we're tackling a subject that makes a whole lot of RV owners upset, and with good reason. We're calling it dirty dealers. But there is more than enough blame to go around. Now, before we get down this road, let me say right up front, not every RV dealer is bad. Most of them are good. The majority of them are good. There are honest dealers out there doing things the right way every day. But increasingly, buyers across America are asking tough questions about deceptive pricing, non-existent pre-delivery inspections, and a system that many people believe is stacked against the consumer right from the get-go. And the complaints keep piling up. This isn't an isolated one or two. People walk onto a lot expecting one price, only to discover thousands of dollars in freight fees, prep fees, documentation fees, dealer fees, charges that they never saw advertised online. In fact, many dealers advertise no hidden fees. And in some cases, that's true. And in some cases, it's a bald-faced lie. Other buyers report rigs being delivered with broken appliances, water leaks, loose trim, faulty wiring, systems that clearly were never inspected before delivery. There's one famous case where the toilet wasn't even hooked up. Unfortunately, those aren't isolated incidents. Now, let me get this off my chest too. We can always say, it's the manufacturer's fault, it's the dealer's fault, whatever. But the end user, the buyer, also bears some level of responsibility. If you go in there and you allow and take delivery of a unit before a PDI has been done and before you've had a walkthrough, you get what you deserve almost. The buyer also bears some responsibility for the situation that we are in. Nobody's holding the gun to your head. We're all adults here, so fess up. People walk onto a lot expecting one price only to discover all those fees. And then comes the finger pointing. The dealer blames the manufacturer. The manufacturer blames the supplier. Meanwhile, the customer is stuck with a payment book and an RV sitting in a service bay for months upon months. I think some people forget that. If a manufacturer has not done right, and it's obvious that a problem is occurring and it needs warranty work, the payments go on, even though you can't use your RV. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the so-called big three of the RV industry: Thor Industries, Forest River, Winnebago. These companies dominate the market. Almost, I think I saw 83%. And critics argue that the industry have evolved into a mass production machine where speed and profit overtake priority of quality and craftsmanship. And we know that to be true. It used to be Jayco and companies like that. They were all built by the Amish cabinetry makers, and they were top-notch, world-class. The Amish don't even want to work in the trailer industry anymore. Workers at some factories are reportedly paid by the piece rather than by the hour. In other words, the faster they work, the more money they make. So quality and making sure that things are done right, not to mention a formal QC process, are not happening. The faster they work, the more money they make. And while that may increase production and make stock owners happy, it certainly doesn't make owners and future prospective owners of those rigs happy, nor make them want to purchase. And with dealers around the country holding that much inventory, something's going to have to give. You are not going to be able to sell those rigs for what you think. You're just not. American consuming public, not going to buy it. Not going to buy them. And here's another real clue. Get rid of the aluminum siding grooved. There was a thing invented about 25 years ago called Asdal. Check it out. And 50 years before that, there was a thing called fiberglass. Check it out. And that slipshod, fast, get them out the door production, it increases production and makes stockholders happy, but it encourages corner cutting and rushed assembly, staples instead of screws, thin Luan walls, particle board cabinetry, cheap fixtures, lightweight materials designed more to reduce manufacturing cost than to increase the longevity of the rig. It's a sad state of affairs. And then there's the RV OEM warranty system, or what many RV owners describe as a giant shell game designed to avoid manufacturer responsibility. It's almost as if, wow, could it be it's engineered against the buyer? Now, on paper, most RV manufacturers do provide some sort of limited factory warranty. But unlike the automobile industry, where the manufacturer generally stands behind the entire vehicle, the RV industry often pushes responsibility off onto dozens and subcontractors and component suppliers. It's not us at Forest River that's at fault. It's XYZ Corp that gave us the rivets to put in there, or the widget to put in there, whatever. Air conditioner fails? Call the air conditioner manufacturer. Slide won't go out, quits working? Contact the slide manufacturer. Refrigerator problem? That's somebody else. Axle issue? Different supplier. Frame got cracked? Call the frame company. Meanwhile, the customer is bounced from one phone number to another, sitting on hold, filling out forms, waiting for approvals, and trying to figure out who is actually responsible for fixing the RV that they just spent 50 or 60 grand on. That ain't going to be me. And I'll tell you, people are hopping mad. It's getting worse and worse. I won't be surprised if next spring, if this continues, at that power breakfast, there'll be protests. There'll be end users, rig buyers who have been ripped off by this industry will show up there, and you won't have a good breakfast. If I had my way, we'd take all those defective rigs, drag them to Elkhart, and park them on those manufacturers' front lawns, or better yet, the senior management officials of those companies on their personal front lawns, at their homes. It's going to spiral out of control. If a CEO of an HMO can be assassinated, and there are a lot of crazy people walking around, and you rob somebody of their life savings, and you show no remorse, no sense at rectification, part of me says you get what you deserve. And I know people are going to be upset that I say that, but I've talked to several families who have been almost ruined, have been decimated by deceptive dealer practices and shitty, and you can say shitty on this channel. You can say the F word too if you want, because we're adults here. Don't like it? Don't subscribe. Don't watch. I'm sorry, when I think about this, young family from Menton, Florida. He's a hardworking guy, owns a landscaping company or does landscape and tree type work. Spent $36,000. Had it out 4 times. Not lengthy trips, just right down here to Henderson State Park. 100 miles away. 4 times. Slide wouldn't work. AC started happening. Small leak in the bathroom. On and on. Within 6 months. And that, in and of itself, would be bad. But then when you call the dealership, or worse yet, if you bought that unit across the country somewhere else, and now locally you want to get it serviced, don't hold your breath. And as the customer is bounced from one point of responsibility to another, many owners say that the communication is non-existent. It's not terrible, it's non-existent. It's not that the answer is no, it's that there's no answer. Calls go unanswered, emails disappear, service appointments get booked months out and then get canceled. Some RVs sit in repair lots for an entire camping season, waiting on parts, or worse yet, warranty approval. Critics argue that the entire system has been engineered to spread liability around so that manufacturers themselves don't ever have to fully stand behind the finished product. And for many consumers, including myself, I find that absolutely outrageous. Because at the end of the day, the customer didn't buy an air conditioner from one company or a frame from another and a slide out from somebody else. They bought one RV from you, the manufacturer. One product, one promise, one warranty. And increasingly, buyers are beginning to ask why the RV industry doesn't operate more like the automobile industry when it comes to warranty support, accountability, recalls, and standing behind the final product. And because of all these ongoing problems, there is now a growing call across America for increased governmental oversight of the RV industry, including some form of a new, true RV lemon law, similar to what already exists in the automobile industry. Right now, consumer protections for RV buyers vary dramatically from state to state. In many cases, motorhomes and travel trailers fall into a legal gray area that leave buyers with limited recourse when major defects appear. Not to mention the fact that most of the agreements, in fact, almost all of them that I know of, say that you have to bring suit and do legal proceedings in the state of Indiana, where those manufacturers bring in billions of dollars into the state coffers, and they know every district attorney, they know every judge. Consumer advocates argue that if a family spends $50,000, $80,000, or even $200,000 on an RV, they deserve the same protections as someone buying a car or a truck. And increasingly, frustrated owners are calling for mandatory quality standards, stronger warranty enforcement, improved disclosure requirements, and laws forcing manufacturers to either repair, replace, or repurchase defective RVs after repeated failures. And if you're an elected official, this is a hotbed issue. This and public land access are hotbed issues for me and millions of other Americans. And frankly, many RV owners believe that without outside pressure or governmental intervention, the industry simply has no incentive to truly fix the problem. These problems have been going on for more than 25 years. And they've had this system of sales in place since the 50s. Now, having said all of that, we also need to be fair and honest with ourselves as consumers, because as I've said, buyers have some responsibilities too. Nobody's forcing anybody to walk into an RV dealership and sign the paperwork. The problem within the RV industry and the problems within the RV industry are no longer a secret. They're well known. There are thousands of videos online, consumer forums, inspection reports, Facebook groups, lawsuits, owner complaints, investigative reports with people who actually worked on the manufacturing line, all warning buyers to slow down, do their homework, and educate themselves before making a purchase. And that's why more and more people are looking at independent manufacturers. Brinkley, Ember RV, Intech, and on and on. The big three aren't the only game in town. And as they used to say many years ago, let the buyer beware. And frankly, in today's world, consumers have a responsibility to become educated and engaged before spending tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on an RV. There's no excuse. Research the manufacturer, talk to other users, research the dealer, hire an independent RV inspector. That's always a given. Read owner forums, learn about towing capacity of your tow vehicle, learn about the warranty limitations, depreciation, financing, and common defects before signing anything. You best believe this fall, when I go to buy my new unit, Sharon and I are getting ready to take about 2 years off and go around and visit every national park, and then I'll do another one of my books. But you best believe that if I walk into a dealership, and we all know where I'm going to go, but if I was to walk into a dealership and they don't hand me a 5 or 6 page report, PDI report of everything they found and corrected and everything that needs to be addressed, and I do a walkthrough, I'm not signing anything until the unit is right, until everything has been addressed. Going to take 6 months to get the part in to fix the XYZ? See you in 6 months. So do your due diligence, because the reality is many buyers walk onto a lot emotionally excited and financially unprepared. They fall in love with the dream before understanding the product. They fall in love with the floor plan before realizing how the plumbing and electrical systems are installed. And here's the real troubling part. The more research many consumers do, the more some of them are beginning to believe the problem goes far beyond poor factory quality control alone. Increasingly, critics argue that some dealers are actively helping manufacturers move substandard products by ignoring defects, rushing deliveries, ignoring warranty claims, skipping proper inspections, and normalizing poor quality as simply part of RV life. Actually had a guy the other day say that, oh, this is discretionary income. It's like buying a bass boat. You know, if you can't stand to lose $40,000, $50,000, what are you doing over here? If you got to ask the price, you can't afford it. Yeah, we've all heard that before. And if the perception that the RV industry doesn't care and these manufacturers don't care continues to spread through the marketplace, the long-term damage to consumer trust could become even more enormous for the RV industry and might be unrecoverable. And some people say that there is a collusion between the dealers and the manufacturers, that the dealers know darn well, if not what's going on now and forward, they know what occurred with the $6 billion of inventory they got sitting out there. I want to see dealers start offering 100% warranty items. I'd also like to see them embrace the Saturn car business model. One price, out the door for everybody. No negotiation. These are the features. This is the price. Out the door. Anyway, check out our Facebook page. There we have posted a list of the top 20 sleazy things that bad dealers do to RV buyers. That's at our Facebook page. Please check it out. But as I said, excuse my French, at some point the shit is going to hit the fan. We got too many people walking around whose life savings have been ripped off with dealers and manufacturers not giving a damn. I worry that an event, like I say, like the recent Power Breakfast, is going to be disrupted by demonstrators, and we're going to see this amp up over the next year. And I think it's going to be, at least in the state of Indiana, we'll make sure of that, at least in the state of Indiana, these issues are going to come up during the election cycle. And I worry that something bad's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if people just started taking these defective units and parking them, like I say, back at the dealership. Cancel the check. Tell the finance company, not paying. See you in court. See, they think that we're scared of court. I got an attorney on speed dial. He's a good friend of mine. Court don't scare me. So go ahead and see what happens. Because I'm from Detroit and I don't play. And thank God we have people like Liz, amazing, and Josh, and a few others who speak up on behalf of the RV owner. And the other, lastly, I'll just say this. Where is the RV Dealer Association? Where is the RV Manufacturers Association? I think we should start an RV Owners Association to stick up for us, to lobby for us with the people in Washington. People are fed up, and so am I. And the more my research uncovers, the more I get sick to my stomach. And how some of these people can sleep at night is beyond me. We've been warned, and so have you. I'm Tom for Out and About TV. This week's trip report takes us to one of the most beautiful stretches of coastline in the entire country, Florida's Emerald Coast. Stretching from Pensacola all the way down to Panama City Beach, the Emerald Coast is famous for its sugar white sand beaches, emerald green water, military history, fishing villages, seafood, RV camping, and some of the most beautiful state parks in the entire country. Now, unlike the crowded beaches of South Florida, the Emerald Coast still manages to hold on to a little bit of old Florida, that old Florida charm. And whether you're traveling in a 45-foot diesel pusher or a small travel trailer, this region offers some absolutely outstanding RV destinations. Let's begin in Pensacola, often called the Western Gate to the Sunshine State. Welcome to Pensacola, the Western Gate to the Sunshine State, where the warmth comes from not only God's great sun above, but from the hearts and minds of the local people. Mayor Vince Wibbs, way back in the 70s, was a personal friend of mine, and he used to open his speeches that way when he'd give away the key to the city or something like that. He was a special man. So let's begin in Pensacola. It's deeply tied to America's military history, proudly serving as the home of naval aviation with the Naval Air Station Pensacola, where I was stationed. And it's the cradle of naval aviation. And if you're visiting the area, one absolutely must see is the National Naval Aviation Museum. Folks, this place is incredible. From World War II and World War I warbirds to modern jet fighters, and even an Apollo spacecraft, the museum houses more than 150 beautifully restored aircrafts, along with flight simulators, exhibits, military history displays, and lots more. It's home also to the famous Blue Angels, and if your timing is just right, you may even catch them doing some practicing overhead. Nearby, you'll also find historic Fort Barrancas, a 19th century military fort overlooking Pensacola Bay, built by the Spanish and later expanded by the United States Army. The fort offers incredible views, along with a fascinating glimpse into America's coastal defense history. There's also the world-famous Pensacola Lighthouse, which is not always open, but sometimes. And speaking of beaches, did we mention beaches? Did I say beaches? Yeah, my favorite place. The Gulf Islands National Seashore may very well be one of the crown jewels of the entire Gulf Coast. And it's little known. Miles and miles of protected white sand shoreline, dunes, sea oats, and crystal clear water stretch across this remarkable preserve. It's peaceful, it's scenic, and it's one of the best places in America simply to relax and watch a sunset. Now, as we continue eastward along Highway 98 and down the coast, we enter the heart of the Emerald Coast, the luckiest little fishing village in America, Destin. Now, Destin has changed dramatically over the years. It literally was just a small fishing village back in the 50s and early 60s. And now what was once a sleepy little fishing village has grown into one of the most popular vacation destinations in the Southeast. But despite the growth, Destin still proudly carries the nickname, the world's luckiest fishing village. Charter fishing boats line the harbor. Seafood restaurants are everywhere. Crab Island continues to draw crowds from around the Southeast. Now, Crab Island is basically an area of the bay that at low tide, it's all sand, and everybody goes there to party, and they bring out barges and have bands play, and it's a wild time. And during the summer months, the entire city absolutely comes alive with tourists, beachgoers, boaters, fishermen, and families looking for sunshine and fun. Of course, with popularity comes traffic, crowds, and development. But the beaches themselves remain stunningly beautiful and some of the clearest water you'll find anywhere along the Gulf of Mexico. And if you're an RVer, the Emerald Coast offers some absolutely phenomenal camping opportunities. Blackwater River State Park near Melton provides a totally different Florida experience, deep in a pine forest, canoeing, tubing, and peaceful wooded campsites far away from the crowds. Meanwhile, Henderson Beach State Park in Destin is one of the most sought-after RV camping destinations in the region, both for its location directly near the beach and its beautiful natural dune system. Further east, one of our favorites is Grayton Beach State Park. It offers a quieter and more laid-back old Florida feel. Lots of great biking trails, kayaking, coastal dune lakes, and some of the prettiest scenery anywhere on the Gulf Coast. Now we keep headed east, and now we're at Panama City Beach. And St. Andrews State Park remains one of the true gems of Florida camping, right on the water. Beautiful campsites, fishing, wildlife viewing, easy beach access make it extremely popular with RV travelers year-round. And Panama City Beach itself is legendary. For decades, it has been known as one of America's most famous spring break destinations, where the boys are in the 60s. And during March and April, things can get pretty wild. College students from around the country, beach bars, live music, nightlife, and traffic jams all become part of the experience. But outside of spring break, Panama City Beach transforms into a surprisingly family-oriented destination with much quieter, beautiful beaches, great seafood, lots of great shopping for the missus, dolphin cruises, fishing charters, and excellent state park facilities. And one of the things that makes the Emerald Coast so unique is its incredible diversity. You can spend the morning touring military museums, the afternoon relaxing on the beach, and the evening dancing the night away in a nightclub and eating fresh Gulf seafood. And the night, beneath the pine trees and above a star-filled sky, you'll lay your head in a peaceful state park campground. There really is something here for everybody. You know, we moved here about, almost 15 years now from Hawaii. So that should tell you something. I fell in love with the Emerald Coast back when I was stationed here in the United States Navy. So I jumped at the opportunity to come back. And it's home now. Whether you're into history, boating, fishing, RV camping, military aviation, nightlife, or simply relaxing on the beach next to some of the most beautiful water in America, the Emerald Coast delivers. And honestly, folks, living here along the Emerald Coast, sometimes I forget just how lucky I am. I'm Tom for Out and About TV. For this week's Gear Roundup, let's look at essential emergency tools. Essential emergency gear that you have. Now, first, let me just say that there are so many tools. Don't get overwhelmed, but you need to have something. And check out our Amazon product list in the show notes and on the Facebook page. We appreciate the support. We're part of the Amazon affiliates program, and we can get a little bit of a help, and it doesn't increase the price at all. So we appreciate your support. One thing every RVer learns eventually is that it's not a question of if something is going to go wrong. It's when. The road is a cruel, cruel place. A flat tire, a dead battery, a breakdown in the middle of nowhere, bad weather, power outages, medical emergencies. The reality is that RV travel, like most traveling, often takes us far away from cities and conveniences, and that means being prepared. It becomes critically important. When you're out in the boonies, ain't nobody coming to help, or if they are, they're a long way away. You got to be self-sufficient. So this time, we're doing a special emergency gear roundup with practical items that every RVer should seriously consider carrying before heading out on the open road. So let's start with the basics. Roadside emergency equipment. Now this may sound simple, but every RVer should carry reflective warning triangles, emergency flares, and or an LED road beacon, and a high visibility safety vest. And if you can't carry all of those items, at least carry flares or an emergency light or those triangles to let people know far in advance of your broken down rig on the side of the road that you're coming up on the side of the road. If you break down on the side of the highway at night, especially towing a trailer, visibility can literally become a life and death issue. And speaking of roadside emergencies, a portable air compressor is also absolutely essential. Modern cordless air inflators are compact, affordable, and can save your bacon if you discover a low or flat tire in a remote area or at a campground or a rest area. You have any idea how much it costs to have a wrecker come out and fill up a tire or help you? Hundreds of dollars. Along those same lines, a portable jumpstart battery pack is one of the smartest investments an RVer can make. These little lithium power packs are amazing. Many can jumpstart trucks, power lights, charge phones, and even run small electronics during emergency brownouts and blackouts. Now let's talk about water. Clean drinking water is one of those things we often take for granted until we can't get it. That's why many experienced travelers now carry portable emergency water filtration systems like the Life Straw. Every member of the family should have a Life Straw. They're only $20. All it takes is one hurricane. Got a friend in Louisiana. The water system was out for 6 weeks. Talk about carrying those big tubs of bottled water. Got old quick. The Life Straw is truly amazing. These compact filters allow you to drink safely from questionable water sources during emergencies, natural disasters, or extended boondocking situations. Great for backpackers. And while we're talking about emergency preparedness, lighting matters. Got to have some light. Shed some light on the situation. That's right. Solar-powered lanterns and solar emergency lights have become incredibly popular with RVers, and for good reason. They recharge during the day and provide dependable lighting at night without draining your RV batteries. and some collapse flat for storage and can run for hours after sunset. Which brings us to power. There's really no excuse for not having one of these small portable solar generators and lithium battery solutions. They have become true game changers for RV owners. Companies like Jackery, EcoFlow, Bluetti, and others now offer compact systems capable of not only charging phones, running medical devices like CPAP machines, powering lights, fans, laptops, even small appliances during outages or off-grid camping. Some of the larger ones can even power a small AC. But if you've ever been stuck somewhere during a storm, you already know how valuable having backup power can become. Now, here's an interesting product category that's gaining popularity among campers and emergency preppers alike: self-heating meals. I had never heard of these, and we almost covered these during our roundup of cooking gadgets, but we wanted to get some in, and we haven't yet, but we'll let you know how that goes. But these are meals that heat themselves chemically without fire, propane, or electricity. And they have these little packets. You kind of activate the packet and put it in there, and it cooks the meal. Within minutes, you've got a hot meal. They're excellent for roadside emergencies, hurricane season, power outages, or situations where traditional cooking simply isn't possible. And folks, don't underestimate the importance of a good medical kit. I'm not talking about a little Band-Aid pouch from the dollar store. A real trauma-capable first aid kit. Every RVer should have basic medications, antiseptics, medical wraps, gauze, burn cream, tweezers, scissors, emergency blankets, supplies for cuts, sprains, dehydration. And if you travel with pets, you should consider carrying a basic pet medical kit as well. Other emergency items might include a weather radio, portable phone battery banks, extra drinking water, flashlight, one of those head flashlights so you have your hands free, fire extinguisher is a must-have, a basic toolkit, duct tape, zip ties, spare fuses, work gloves, toe straps, and even an old-fashioned paper road atlas in case you can't get GPS or cell phone service. Now, hopefully, you'll never need any of this equipment. But experienced RVers know something important. Preparedness buys peace of mind. Because when you're traveling hundreds or even thousands of miles away from home, self-reliance becomes part of the adventure. And trust me, the middle of nowhere is a terrible place to realize you forgot something important. Be safe. We'll see you out there. Adventure before dementia. Hey, thanks again for coming by. I really appreciate it. On behalf of Sharon and myself, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. We need all the help we can get. Coming up next week, we're going to ask the real bottom line question. Can you really afford the RV lifestyle anymore? And we're also going to take a trip to Shenandoah National Park. And we're going to take a look at some RV budgeting and expense tracking tools that you might be able to use. And we're going to do a channel spotlight on the channel RV Love. RV Love. Hey, one other thing I want to mention. You'll notice in the library now a whole bunch of shorts for people with a short attention span. You have over 50 shorts to keep you occupied now. Just little highlights from the past 30 episodes, little highlights and stuff like that. Get in the library and check them out. We appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for coming by. You get out there and visit your old pal, Mother Nature, and we'll see you out and about.
Stop.